I'm sure you've been in a situation where you go onto your phone and you look at the amount of money in your bank account and you think to yourself, I'm never going to make it to the end of this week or the end of this month. I simply don't have enough money to buy food until the end of the month. I'm sure you've had that feeling. Well, of course, considering particularly how many young people are in such precarious employment, they have this problem in a really huge way. Bryan Habana is the co-founder of an app called PayMeNow. He's been looking at some research about young people, how they try to get by on a day-to-day basis. He also, I suspect, has a really interesting trophy cabinet. He joins us now. Bryan, good afternoon. Thank you very much indeed for your time. How many young people are living paycheck to paycheck, just battling to get through the month? How tough is it?
Yeah, Stephen, I think it's great to be talking to you. I think before we even go to how many young or youth are struggling to get paycheck to paycheck, the massive, cataclysmic unemployment rate within the youth at the moment is at the greatest levels that we've ever seen as a country. And over and above that, you have a very small part of that population who is now formally employed, but that really 80-90% struggle to see themselves through the course of the month. A recent release by FNB said that even your white collar workers run out of funds by around the 5th of every month, which when you're entering the corporate workspace, it's extremely challenging for those that are potentially financially literate, are potentially financially excluded. And hopefully with PayMeNow we're providing a better alternative to those who sometimes didn't even get access to liquidity.
So what do people do? They try and borrow money, I imagine. They try and borrow money ahead of the next paycheck, or try and borrow money from wherever they can.
Well, Stephen, I think firstly you've got to look at the vicious cycle that people come in. So, if we come sort of middle of the month and in a very formally cash-strapped economy like South Africa, where you need physical cash in hand to get into public transport, into a taxi, into a train, to actually get to work. If you don't have the money to go earn the money, how do you actually then, start earning money, which I think is unfortunate and a real scenario for so many South Africans, not just the youth. And I think through earned wage access or on-demand pay, firstly allowing people to understand the responsibility around their own money, the ease of use for those that potentially were excluded, but hopefully also to allow people to see, sometimes the hidden fees that micro lending and payday lending actually incurs. So we will definitely not say we're a one-stop all solution. We definitely do believe we're a more responsible, better alternative. And because it is employees' own money that they are effectively using, they then tend to use it a lot more responsibly.
Are a lot of people doing a side hustle as well, a second income if they can, doing literally anything, washing cars and cutting hair, for example?
I think COVID has potentially accelerated people's means of looking at working. Not only are you looking at potentially shorter work weeks, potentially remote working that has really taken into effect and has made people a lot more productive and efficient. But people are also understanding that with efficiency potentially comes the opportunity to look at various job opportunities or side hustles, Stephen, like you call them. I didn't have quite many side hustles on the field because I had one job, and that was to score tries. So I think people are looking at alternative methods to try get a source of income, because as the interest rate increases, as petrol prices increases, not through our own doing, but some of the global trends that have been happening, people are being squeezed for every little bit of money that they do have. So side hustles are playing a big part, and employers are also looking to try alleviate some of the pressure put on their workforce, which potentially leads to not only the financial stress, but a lot of the mental stress that comes with being in a financially vulnerable position.
One of the things you want to do as you get older is to save. If you can start saving before you're 30, say for your retirement or for the education of your children or whatever, your life when you're 40 or 50 is so much easier. I mean, it is unbelievable how much easier it is. If you are just living paycheck to paycheck, you're doing side hustle after side hustle, you're never going to save. So your life is going to stay, you're basically going to stay as poor as you are, no matter how hard you work. That's one of the problems that people will have.
It's a massive problem that people currently have, and like you rightly said, when you're using all the liquidity you're getting to just get by, your salary potentially doesn't increase, but the price of petrol increases, the price of grocery increases, so all of a sudden your disposable income becomes a lot smaller. And if you can't save, how do you eventually try to get out of that cycle? I think with really niche fintech solutions like PayMeNow or earned wage access platform, we allow a little bit of cost saving in terms of what people would be paying in terms if they're going to, the formal unsecured market. And, hopefully by saving that on a monthly basis, they can start looking at spreading themselves a little easier, start looking at putting things away. But it is an incredibly tough economic environment that we're all facing as South Africans. And I think employers in particular have a huge responsibility to put means and methods in place to try alleviate some of that overburden and stress that their staff are going through.
Bryan Habana, I really appreciate the time. Thank you. Co-founder of the app PayMeNow. You may remember him. He's been on TV once or twice.